DJ Moore and Rome Odunze were making the rounds at Radio Row in New Orleans ahead of Super Bowl 59, where the Chiefs will take on the Eagles, and hopped on a few shows, including Kay Adams, Up and Adams. So a couple of notes I wanted to hit on that. Plus, Jared Goff sounding off on Ben Johnson leaving Detroit for Chicago. So we got a lot of good stuff coming up here on today's show. But I'm just curious. Who's going to be wide receiver 1 in 2025? Type DJ if you think it's going to be DJ Moore, or if you think it's going to be Rome Odunze, type RO. I would say DJ Moore. I would lean in that direction, but it would not shock me if in the next 12 to 18 months that answer is RO for Rome Odunze. DJ for DJ Moore, RO for Rome Odunze. Let us know what you guys think. Okay, DJ Moore. Is he recruiting Cooper Kupp? That's probably a bit of a strong phrase, but kind of just set up what happened here. Again, he and Rome were on Kay Adams' show, and they were just kind of having fun. If you've ever watched her show interview, she, keeps it loose, has a good time, all that stuff. And she started throwing wide receiver names out there, names that could be available, and Cooper Kupp was one that caught DJ's attention in terms of, hey, which one of these would you guys like to pair with y'all two as a trio in Chicago, knowing that Keenan Allen's a free agent, may not be back. Here's what DJ had to say. He said, I would say Cooper, talking about Cooper Kupp. He does it all in the slot. He can maneuver. The game is just slow for him. Now, a couple angles here, because I do want to expand on this quite a bit. First, the Rams are getting rid of him. They're either going to trade him or they're going to cut him. And that's not even from the Rams. That's from Cooper Kupp himself, because he wanted to stay in L.A. He released this statement on social media just a couple of days ago. He said, I was informed by the team or that the team will be seeking a trade immediately and will be working with me and my family to find the right place to continue competing for championships. I don't agree with the decision and always believed it was going to begin and end in LA. Now let's start here so Bears fans don't freak out. They are not going to trade for Cooper Kupp. They should not trade for Cooper Kupp. They will not. They shouldn't. It's not going to happen for a lot of reasons. One, they already have two really good receivers. You don't need to trade a pick for another one. And two, Cooper Kupp, if for any team that trades for him, you have to pay $20 million against your salary cap. He's just not that caliber player anymore. There's a reason the Rams are moving on, because his cap hit with the Rams is almost $30 million, and he's a low-end 2, high-end wide receiver 3. Doesn't mean he's a bad player, just means for the contract he currently has and the money, he's not worth that at this point in time. So it's not shocking that it's become super public that they're trying to trade him, because they know it's going to be hard to trade him. So they're like telling everyone, please give us something. I think he gets cut. I don't think a team trades for him. And if he does get cut, well, okay, I'm at least somewhat interested at that point from a Bears standpoint, depending on what the price would be if he were to hit the open market. Because let's face it, you look at him in his last 4 years, his last just elite year was 2021 when he was the best receiver in football. It's been a quick decline. Not that he's not good at all anymore, but injuries have piled up. He's just slowed down a little bit. Even when he is healthy, you can tell he's lost a step. He's still got it in the sense that he can maneuver the slot, get open some, make some contested catches as a smaller guy. He's a hell of a blocker, but this is not a wide receiver 1. And for this team in particular, he would be a clear wide receiver 3, which is why I'd actually be somewhat intrigued, because you would have clearer roles this year, whereas last year I don't think it was that clear. It was kind of muddy. Like, I felt like Keenan Allen was getting over-targeted for what his role probably should have been, which, again, I've said it, I'd be open to bringing him back if the role was clear and the money was right. That would be the same thought process here with Cooper Kupp, and that would be my take. Like, okay, DJ and Rome, they're your clear top 2 guys. Cooper Kupp, distant wide receiver 3 that blocks his ass off and maybe doesn't cost that much on a contract. Now, I'm just speculating on what he would get. Would he get $10 million on a 1-year deal? $8 million? I do think he'd be a little cheaper than Keenan Allen. I think Keenan showed more juice last year than Cooper Kupp. All of that being said, though, even though I don't hate the idea, and I know Ben Johnson wants to run the football, and he'd be great in that regard because he's a really good blocker on the perimeter, I want a speed guy. Like, I want my number 3 guy to be a speed demon. Now, I understand you're probably not going to get Jamison Williams caliber player to be that role, but can you get someone with Tyler Scott type speed who's maybe a little more polished, either in the draft or in free agency? That's not going to break the bank. I've used his name a lot. Marquise Brown would be someone I'd be more interested in. a guy who can take the top off, because Cooper Kupp's not going to give you that. And while Rome Odunze and DJ Moore give you some vertical ability, they're not pure burners. They're like 4-4 guys. I'd like to get a burner, be that wide receiver 3, even if it is a distant third role, because you have Cole Kmet, who can kind of, like Cooper Kupp would be, underneath guy, man the slot, block. Honestly, they'd play really similar roles, so it'd be somewhat redundant at the end of the day. So what say you? Would you sign Cooper Kupp if he got cut? Type S for sign, P for pass. If the money was under $10 million, I wouldn't be completely against it. I'd rather go with the speed guy, though, so I'd probably pass. But, again, you could talk me into it if the price is right. No chance I would consider trading for him. Okay. Tell you guys about our sponsor, then we got more to get to. That is Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that can help find and cancel unwanted subscriptions, monitor your spending and your overall budget, and even negotiate to lower some of your bills to help grow your savings. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that I've used for almost 2 years now, actually, when I really think about it. And when I first signed up, I could not believe how many subscriptions I was paying for. I had doubled up on a couple of streaming services, got rid of those, the ones I had doubled up on. There were some I just weren't using anymore. I had like an old golf streaming app that I think I signed up for like the U.S. Open one year, like years ago. It's $100 a year. I ended up losing out on like $200 because I kept getting charged for the annual without even knowing it. Rocket Money shows you all your subscriptions on one screen, and with a few taps, you can cancel the ones you no longer want. You can negotiate to lower your bills by up to 20%. Just upload a photo of your bill to the app. They will do the rest for you, see what's out there for you, and just basic things like staying on top of your credit score, just overall day-to-day spending, setting budgets. They'll send you alerts to make sure you're staying on top of that budget for the monthly basis. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving the members up to $740 per year when using all of the app's features. So stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/bearsnow. That is rocketmoney.com/bearsnow. Link is in the comments and description. rocketmoney.com/bearsnow. Okay, let's go to a little Ben Johnson talk. Rome, really both of them, but I want to start with Rome. Was asked, first impressions, what have you taken away in your brief time being around Ben Johnson, yada, yada. There's rules about how much you can even be around the coaching staff right now, so obviously there hadn't been a ton of interaction, but both DJ and Rome went to his introductory presser, so they did meet him. They have had conversations, and Odunze said that he likes his intensity when talking about Ben Johnson. And then DJ, tongue-in-cheek, but I think was serious in the manner as well of, he said, I was left being scared. Not like I'm scared of the coach, but more like this is a guy who's setting a standard, and we didn't really have that before. And he repeated the phrase that Ben said in his opening presser, like, hey, get comfortable being uncomfortable. He's going to challenge these guys. They're going to raise the standard, and that's something I've really liked about the staff that he's built, bringing in a hard ass like Eric Bieniemy, who, he may not be the perfect fit for every player, but he's going to push you. He's going to challenge you. He's been around winning at the highest level with the Kansas City Chiefs, when they were still in their run, which they still are now. So I like the type of guys they're bringing in here. Again, doesn't mean a damn thing, but in January and February, we can only talk about what we know right now, and that's the type of staff they've brought in. The next steps will be wrapping up this staff and then adding players and whatnot and free agency and in the draft. And then obviously we'll get to off-season workouts, OTAs, training camp, and then what really matters will start, which is next season. But we're a long way to go, and right now it does seem like they're at least setting the table for what the standard is going to be. And you could tell listening to Rome and DJ today that standard seems to be a little bit higher than it was before. Okay, Jared Goff weighing in on the whole Ben Johnson situation, leaving Detroit for Chicago. This is via Sirius XM Radio. He said, quote, he's a guy that's made a ton of difference in my career. I'm obviously a big fan of his. I was joking with him. I wish he didn't have to be in our division so I didn't have to try to beat him twice a year. But he's going to do a great job. Hopefully not too good, though, with us being in the division together still. But I'll always be a fan of his, and we'll always have a good relationship. And look, Goff, it's a couple things. One, I think it's safe to say Goff's a good, classy guy. Like, he's not going to drag Ben Johnson out the door like the fans are. And look, fans, players on the team, it's all going to be a different perspective, right? But two, he's also no dummy. Like, he reached new heights with Ben Johnson. Like, this 3-year stretch under Ben Johnson were all better seasons than he ever had with the Rams, and he had some good years with the Rams. He went to a Super Bowl, but let's not forget Sean McVay, who we all consider an offensive mastermind and wizard. He was kind of done with Goff. I can't go any further with him. Well, someone else did. Maybe not literally in terms of winning the Super Bowl, but in terms of getting better and more consistent production out of the player. Ben Johnson was able to do that, whereas Sean McVay kind of plateaued with him. Now, there's a lot of factors that go into that, including personnel and all kinds of things. It doesn't mean that if he was still in LA, he wouldn't have improved. Like, I'm not acting like Jared Goff wasn't capable of improving himself, but Goff is telling you, like, I'm a big fan of his. He's meant a lot to me in my career. So I think that's pretty meaningful. And now we hope to see the same with Caleb Williams. Now, obviously, he's getting a younger guy than when he got Jared Goff. Jared Goff was already a veteran established in the league, had played in the Super Bowl. Caleb Williams is 1 year into his career, coming off a very up-and-down rookie season, but he's also more talented than Jared Goff. Like, how creative is Ben Johnson going to get with this guy? He even talked about that, like, having the mobility at the position now, that's going to be something, he can tap into different things with Caleb that he couldn't with Jared Goff because Goff doesn't move that well. It's not a knock on him. It's just the play style. So that's going to be exciting to see how that all looks, but that's the goal. That's the challenge, is these two guys coming together along with other players, staff members, etc. to how do we make Caleb in this offense the best version that it can be starting this year and moving forward. And obviously us as Bears fans and people who consume this team, we're all very eager to see it play out because we've been starving for offense here. There's no doubt about that. How confident are you in Caleb taking off of Ben Johnson? Scale of 1 to 10. I feel pretty confident. I mean, I can't say a 10, but I'll probably give it an 8. It's the best young offensive mind available. I saw Chris Sims say he's the best offensive guru to become a head coach since Shanahan and McVay. That was his opinion. So we'll see if that proves to be true. But he seems ready for this. Caleb's got all the talent in the world. Now it's about just putting it all together and having the same vision, which is something Ben Johnson talked about as well. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of Chicago Bears Now. No live show tomorrow unless there's some crazy breaking news, but we're going to be live on our main chat sports channel for the NBA trade deadline. We'll still have content, though. We have a mailbag going out in the morning, and then we'll have something go out in the afternoon. Might be a new mock draft. We'll see what that video is, so stay tuned for that. Subscribe, turn on the noties so you don't miss a video, and bear down, as always.